Greetings everyone. Friends, let's discuss the concept of interest on capital and its impact on accounting equation. So this is really important aspect in accounting. You know students, capital is what? The amount invested by the proprietor, owner, by the businessman into the business. And you must remember, capital is also treated as internal liability of the business. Yes, friends, you need to understand this. This is also liability of the business. Capital is treated as the internal liability of the business, and accordingly, business has to pay interest on that capital to the businessman. It simply means businessman is entitled to claim interest on capital. Then what will be its impact on accounting equation? Firstly, you need to understand the nature of capital. This term capital, you need to understand in which situation capital increases and in which situation capital decreases, or you can say in which situation capital account is credited and in which situation capital account is debited, because there are some transactions which directly affect capital account. So here our topic is interest on capital only. Remember one thing, friends, when interest is allowed on capital, this is not allowed in cash like salary, wages and repairs. Rather, amount of interest on capital is added to the capital. It is added to the capital. It simply means by the amount of interest on capital amount of capital that increases. So first effect is what? Amount of interest on capital will be added to capital because it increase the investment made by the businessman into the business, and which is called capital. And what will be second impact? You must understand, this interest on capital is also an expense for the business. And you must understand what is the impact of income and expenses in accounting equation. In accounting equation, expenses and losses, these are directly deducted from capital. Second effect will be the amount of interest on capital will be deducted from capital. See, now it looks funny. You will say, what is this? Firstly, you are saying it will be added, and secondly, it will be deducted. Yes, friends, since interest is allowed by the businessman, by the business to the businessman, it increases his capital investment. So firstly, it will be added to capital, and second, it will be deducted from capital itself, because it is also an expense of the business, and its final impact will be nil on accounting equation. Its final impact and effect will be nil on capital itself. But we have to show the treatment. I repeat this, please pay attention. The first effect, it will be added to capital. The amount of interest on capital will be added to capital. You have to show it in accounting equation. And second effect will be, it will be deducted from capital. Deducted from capital. This we are talking about in accounting equation, friends. Effect of interest on capital on accounting equation, and this takes place in case of sole proprietorship basically. Therefore, when we start studying accounting, we need to understand the basic terminology, the basic terms, the assets, the liability, the capital, their relationship, and effect of all expenses and losses on capital and assets and liabilities. And in this lecture, I made it clear interest on capital amount, once it is added, and secondly it is deducted from capital, and final effect will be nil on capital itself. But we need to understand why it has been added, and why it has been deducted. I wish this small concept is clear. Share the video with your friends and relatives also. They must know the concept. They will be able to understand it and improve their knowledge also. Stay connected, improve your knowledge, subscribe the channel if not yet subscribed. And friends, one more thing. If you want to listen and see, watch these kind of videos in Hindi also, visit my second channel, that is Commerce with Difference. There are more than 600 videos in accounting and subject economics and business studies as well. Thank you. All the best.